Welcome back. Bangladesh votes tomorrow in what is being described as its first free and fair election in 15 years since the end of Sheikh Hasina's rule. Shafkat Munir from the Bangladesh Institute of Peace and Security Studies says the poll comes at a defining moment with the country seeking a reset after more than a decade of one-party dominance.
When people took to the streets in what I call the monsoon revolution in 2024, one of their fundamental asks was the restoration of democracy. So I think the biggest achievement that this election will provide is we are now on a path to restoring democratic order. Because, as I said, after nearly 2 decades, we are going to have a free, fair, participatory, and genuine election, inshallah. But having said that, there is a lot of work that still needs to be done. There are many reforms which still need to be undertaken. There are many structural changes which need to be done. There is a need for revamping the national security architecture. There is a need to reset the economy. There is a need to re-establish genuine accountability. But those are tasks before a newly elected government. And I would also caution by saying that such changes and such reforms cannot be done overnight. We have to be patient. We have to give the government the opportunity to do it over a period of time. And I think that is what the voters overall expect from a new government, that once they get the people's mandate, they will create a new democratic society, which has long been lost in Bangladesh.
With more than 124 million registered voters, February 12th is set to be one of the largest elections in the world. The race is expected to pit the Bangladesh Nationalist Party against a coalition led by the Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami. And with expectations running high, youth and women could hold the decisive vote.
We have nearly 60 million first-time and young voters who are going to vote in this election. And their aspirations, their ideas will obviously have an influence. But the established political parties are still the ones who are going to shape this election. But both parties, both the two major parties, both the BNP and Jamaat, have been working very hard to appeal to the first-time and young voters and try to connect with them. And the BNP in particular has come up with lots of ideas and plans which particularly resonate with young voters. So I think that's very important. Another thing we must also remember that female voters will play a very decisive role. They're nearly half the total voting population, and their ideas, their aspirations, their fears, their challenges are also going to be reflected in the ballot.
Bangladesh's election is drawing regional and international attention, with implications that extend well beyond its borders. For more on why this vote matters beyond the nation's borders, we have Mazia Barik Miji with us in the studio. Mazia, this election comes after a major political shift in Bangladesh. Can you walk us through that landscape?
Right. So this vote follows the 2024 ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who ruled for 15 years. She was seen as closely aligned with India. However, she is now in exile in New Delhi, and her party, the AWANI League, is banned from contesting. So her exit paved the way for two main front runners, and the first one is the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and the Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami Party, both of which historically had much cooler ties with India.
And then how does that shift impact regional powers like India and China per se? Yeah.
Right, so the result could reshape South Asian geopolitics. India has long seen Bangladesh as a key ally, given their shared border and strategic transit routes. But since Hasina fled to India, New Delhi's influence has weakened, while China's engagement has expanded, including a defense deal to build a drone factory near Bangladesh's border, while also continuing billion-dollar infrastructure projects.
And so does this mean Bangladesh is pivoting fully towards Beijing? Yeah.
Right. So China has been Bangladesh's largest trading partner, for over a decade, with annual trade around $18 billion. But Bangladesh is bordered by India on 3 sides and relies on it for trade, transit, and security. And analysts say that the next government will likely deepen economic ties with China, but it will not sideline India completely. And Amirul, the reality is Bangladesh needs both powers, and leaders understand that ignoring such a key neighbor would be imprudent. In fact, the person seen as the Prime Minister frontrunner, Tariq Rahman, has struck a conciliatory note, telling Reuters last week that they will try to have a friendship with all countries, but of course, protecting the interest of Bangladesh will be the priority.
Thank you, Mazia. We'll be surely watching Bangladesh election closely as it impacts unfolds across the region.
Thank you.
Starting February 20th, social media companies in India will be required to remove unlawful content within 3 hours of being notified by authorities. The move amends India's 2021 IT rules, which have already been a flashpoint between Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government and global tech firms.
Under the rules, the government can order the removal of content deemed illegal under any Indian law, including those related to national security and public order. India is considered one of the world's most aggressive regulators of online content, forcing platforms to balance compliance with concerns over government censorship in a market of more than 1 billion internet users. The country has stepped up efforts in recent years, empowering scores of officials to order content takedowns, drawing criticism from digital rights advocates and sparked clashes with tech companies. The government did not provide a reason for shortening the takedown timeline. According to platform transparency reports, India has issued thousands of takedown requests in recent years. Meta alone said it restricted 28,000 pieces of content in India in the first 6 months of 2025 following government requests.
Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te is urging lawmakers to approve a $40 billion special military budget, warning that delays could undermine the island's defense against China. Lai argues national defense should be an area of unity, not political division, as the opposition-controlled parliament continues to block the proposal.
Defense Minister Wellington Koo warned that failure to pass the budget risks creating a rupture in the Indo-Pacific's collective deterrence posture. He says Taiwan plays a critical role along the so-called First Island chain, a strategic arc stretching from Japan through Taiwan to the Philippines. The main opposition party, the Kuomintang, says it supports defense spending but refuses to sign what it calls a blank check, arguing that weapon purchases must be cost-effective and properly scrutinized. The spending package, first proposed last year, is aimed at strengthening Taiwan's capabilities against China, which claims the self-ruled island as its own and has not ruled out the use of force.
The U.S. takes further steps to ease restrictions on Venezuela's oil industry, expanding access for American companies. In a move announced by the U.S. Treasury Department, a new license allows certain transactions with Venezuela's government and its state-owned oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela S.A. The authorization permits the supply of goods, technology, and software needed for oil and gas exploration, development, and production. Additional licenses have also been granted. One allows transactions necessary for port and airport operations, while another permits specific activities involving oil of Venezuelan origin. Venezuela has been under U.S. sanctions since 2019. Despite those restrictions, the country holds roughly 1/5 of the world's proven oil reserves and was once a major supply of crude oil to Washington. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro says that he had escaped what he described as an assassination attempt while flying in a helicopter. Petro made the statement during a live-stream cabinet meeting, referring to an event that occurred on Monday night when he said his helicopter could not land at its planned destination because of fears that people were going to shoot at it.
After arriving in Cordoba, Petro did a helicopter flight over the area after heavy rains caused flooding. Petro also mentioned he ordered the retirement of a police general, accusing him of trying to sabotage his meeting with the U.S. President Donald Trump in the White House on February 3rd. Since taking office in 2022, Petro has repeatedly denounced plots against him by drug trafficking organizations and criminal groups for his work against what he has called Colombia's mafias, and has said the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, had warned him, according to media reports. In September 2024, the then U.S. ambassador to Colombia, Francisco Palmieri, said there was real worry about the issue, without providing further details in an interview with the local news outlet Caracol Radio.
That concludes AWANI International for tonight. Stay with us as we track the strategies and power shifts shaping the new global order. For more updates, visit international.astroawani.com and follow us on social media. I'm Amirul Aiman. Thank you for watching. Good night.